Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Disneyland Paris, Shanghai Disneyland, Hong Kong Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Sea, the Disney Cruise Lines, and big movies. What do these all have in common? They're all shut down. This is Disney in the year of the pandemic, or better known as the Corona-apocalypse. And we're going to talk more after the intro. Well, hello there. My name's Jeremy and welcome back to Freeform Disney, where I talk about all aspects of Disney, from the animated movies to the theme parks to Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar, and the TV shows, and everything else in between. And that is why it's Freeform. And keep coming back every day for new daily content. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is a special news video this week with some current updated news on Disney and the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. I'm just going to be talking about the theme parks in this video. If you're interested in how it's affecting the movies, come back Monday to know how it's affecting those movies. And on Tuesday, I'm going to have a video where I'm going to talk about the coronavirus itself and what the future for Disney might look like. I'm also looking at doing a shareholders meeting video sometime next week. So I might have a video about that coming up soon too. And one quick note for anyone who wants something not coronavirus related, Frozen 2 is now up on Disney Plus and you can watch it now. Or watch it again, or watch it again. But that's not why you're here anyway, right? You're here to hear about Disney parks and coronavirus. We have some news on that and some big news that just came out earlier today. I'm from the US, so my perspective is going to come from the fact that I do live here and that worldview to some degree. If you don't know much about coronavirus currently, there are some great resources out there. I'd recommend starting your check with the World Health Organization, WHO, and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. And I'm going to post some links down below, so if you want something more specific, you can go there and check those out. So let's jump right on into it and talk about the Disney parks. First off, on the Disney parks, we know Shanghai Disneyland, Hong Kong Disneyland, and Tokyo Disneyland have been closed and remain closed. There is one slight exception to that in Shanghai Disneyland. The park itself is still closed, but they have reopened the restaurants and stores that are outside the main parks. So hey, if you want to go shopping in Disneyland Shanghai, Disney has an option for you. But that's it, it's shopping and eating, no going into the park. Over the past few days, news of the closures and cancellations have kept coming right on in. Major sports have canceled or postponed their seasons and tournaments. Big conferences have been canceled. Inside the US, new restrictions have been placed on the size of gatherings in many states. And on Thursday, Disney had news for us too. First, we received this news about Disneyland. They talk here about how there have been no cases of COVID-19 in Disneyland that they know of. They plan on closing the Disneyland park beginning this morning, Saturday morning, through the end of the month. But the Disney hotels will stay open. So hey, if you want to stay at a Disney hotel without going to the park, then you can go ahead and still do that. And then, later on Thursday, we found out about Disney World and Disneyland Paris and the cruise line. So they're going ahead and proceeding and closing Disney World and Disneyland Paris starting Monday, March 16th. And they're going to be closed until the end of March, according to this. Disney will pay its cast members during that closure. The hotels at both Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris will remain open until further notice. The retail and dining complexes, Disney Springs at Walt Disney World and Disney Village at Disneyland Paris, are going to remain open. So again, hey, if you want to go shopping, they got you covered still. Domestic Walt Disney Company employees who are able to work from home are also being asked to go ahead and do so. So largely the same kind of thing we're seeing elsewhere. Keeping the stores open, keeping the restaurants open that are outside the parks, and closing all of the parks themselves. We are also seeing the cruise line close down as well. And even on their other employees from the studios, they're being asked to stay home and work and telecommute if possible. So none of this is surprising, in my opinion, in the face of coronavirus. I know it's surprising to a number of people because it kind of snuck up. And this is because we've been given news to not panic. The government says to not panic. The corporate media says to not panic. And this all has made it so it's hard to have a good grasp on just how serious the situation really is for a lot of people. If you look at news articles from back in February, they were trying to tell us in a number of places that coronavirus, oh no, you shouldn't be worried about that. You should be worried about the flu. That's way worse than coronavirus. Which is simply absurd. And I think we're all kind of seeing that point now, right? The other half of how serious it is we've been seeing the reports coming out of Italy, from China, from South Korea, from other parts of Europe as it's starting to ramp up there. And frankly, we're not mentally prepared for what is about to happen. So this news about Disney closing its parks comes as quite a surprise, I suppose, against that backdrop, against the news that has been being put out. But it shouldn't come as a surprise considering what we have been hearing in the rest of the world. So for me, in my opinion, yes, I am sad the park is closed. I truly am. I love Disney, so I loved having the parks open. But I am thankful that they are closing. And I think we should all be thankful that they're closing. A pandemic is nothing to mess around with. The longer things keep staying open and don't get locked down, the worse it will get. So let's definitely not mess around with the coronavirus. When we come back to this and think about it weeks later, this will not come as a surprise. We will look back at the closures of the parks and closures of everything else and think how naive we were. How could we not have expected this to happen? That said, this is historic. There has never been a time where all of the Disney parks have been closed at the same time. There will not be a single Disney park open anywhere in the world. And that's bizarre. And it really does. It feels very bizarre to me. Then again, everything about the coronavirus pandemic really feels bizarre. It's because we don't have anything else in our lifetime to compare this to. It's unprecedented in our lifetime. Well, there's more to this story about the Disney parks. Disney just yesterday, on Friday, released an FAQ to clarify some of the questions people had after hearing the news. We have heard questions from people who are annual pass holders, who have tickets or reservations, and Disney answers some of these questions. So I'm going to go ahead and provide the link down in the description if you want to know more. Let's look at some of the information in the FAQ so you have that information now too. First off, Disney went ahead and gave refunds on tickets. So any tickets with unused days or ones that were specific to when Disney is closed can still be used now until December 15th of this year. If they're not, you can also apply the value of a wholly unused ticket to the purchase of a later ticket. And also any special event tickets during times that Disney will be closed are going to go ahead and be refunded. Seems like a no-brainer. And it's good that Disney's taking care of that one. Annual pass holders. Your annual passes are going to be extended by the number of days the park is closed. So you're not going to lose out on any time based on the time the park is closed and from the coronavirus epidemic. Also, if your renewal period happens to come in during the closure period, the time's going to go ahead and get extended to go ahead and do that renewal. It sounds like Disney's really got you handled and got you covered right there. So not going to be a problem. What about the resort hotel? Well, if you have not checked in yet for a stay between March 16th and March 31st, when the parks are currently scheduled to be closed, you can go ahead and modify or cancel your room reservation or your Walt Disney Travel Company package up to the check-in date. And hey, guess what? If you don't go ahead and do that in time and you just don't check in, they're going to go ahead and automatically refund you within 7 days of the original check-in date. And that's really nice right there because I gotta be honest, if I had a hotel reservation, the park was getting closed and whatnot, and I've got coronavirus pandemic to worry about, I don't know if canceling my hotel reservation is necessarily the top of my list for what I'm thinking about here when it comes to, let's say, March 28th. So really good that Disney's got us covered on that one. Oh, and they do make a special note in there that if you're canceling one of those big packages that includes airlines and cars, they won't be refunding the third-party fees. And also, of course, if you didn't book your trip through Disney directly, you're going to have to go ahead and contact whoever you did book it through and cancel it there. Oh, and one other little special note there in regards to that. The cancellation fees are being gotten rid of up through June 30th this year. So go ahead and take advantage of any changes or cancellations you need to do up through that time period. Okay, onward to dining. Dining reservations that are affected by the closures will be refunded. No fees. Now, they say specifically for the ones affected by the closures? So I don't know what that means for the ones that are outside of the park. Because after all, they talk a lot about how they're leaving the restaurants and stores open outside a number of the parks. So you might want to check in on that if that applies to you, because the FAQ is not clear on that point. Also, if you've got one of those big Tables at Wonderland memberships, that's going to be extended by the same number of days the parks are closed, just like the annual pass holders' passes. And there's one more little thing in that FAQ, which is on the FastPass Plus, which they're just going to go ahead and refund it to you if you've got a FastPass reservation while the park is closed. Largely speaking, looking at that, it looks like Disney is handling this really well. And I'm glad to see that. I don't have any of those reservations to worry about, but I'm glad for all of you that they're handling it well, and hopefully it won't be much of a hassle. I mean, my biggest questions are on those restaurants and stores outside of the park that are remaining open. Do check and make sure if any of that applies to you, okay? Moving onward, there's some breaking news that just came out a few hours ago, and this really is big. The Disney College Program, not just the Disney College Program, a number of the other programs there too, were all told to go home. And they're going to be having to be out by March 18th. That's this Wednesday here by 11 a.m. So they've got just a few days and then they're out. This message went around to members of the different Disney programs. That would be the Disney College Program, the Disney Culinary Program, the Disney Cultural Exchange Program, and the Disney Academic Exchange Program. And this went out to everyone there and starts with the usual, in an abundance of caution, we're closing the park, boilerplate, yada yada. And then it goes ahead and moves on and says, based on these factors, we are closing many of the Disney program housing complex buildings and are requiring these participants to collect their belongings and depart by March 18th at 11 a.m. Includes programs as mentioned before, and this will also include international cast members in guest relations. All Disney program participants will continue to be paid through the end of the month, and weekly housing deductions will be waived effective immediately. Each of you will be given a successful program completion to ensure the opportunity to pursue future roles within the company. And if you've got any questions, talk to your leaders, etc. And the usual thank you. So, dang. Wow. I mean, that's just such a rather sudden departure. I mean, we've seen with some of the colleges and universities here recently, with all the students having to figure out quickly when they're kicked out of the dorms where the heck they're going. But dang, I mean, this is a 3-day departure, which is nothing to laugh about here. 3.5 if I'm being generous. And I've seen a lot of tweets and new videos from people who are very worried about what to do, how to get travel arrangements, how to figure out how to get back home or where to stay. Given this immediate cancellation of the college program and only having 3 days to figure it out, my heart really goes out to all who are affected by this, and I really wish you good luck. Here's hoping that you're able to get this all figured out and it works out for you. I know I've heard something about U-Haul talking about storage or something like that for college students, so it might apply here. Perhaps go ahead and check that out. Again, this is a currently evolving situation, so I'm sure there are a lot of good resources in different support groups for the college program students and the other program students. Hopefully you'll get that all worked out. And really, so good luck to you and good luck to everyone, of course, in regards to coronavirus. I mean, what we're looking at here with the parks being closed down, we're clearly not looking at a minor thing. This is huge. This is just one more example of how hugely this is affecting people. The college program and other programs employ thousands of people, and this is another huge effect we're seeing from coronavirus. And frankly, while we're talking about it, Disney is just talking about closing the parks for only 2 weeks, roughly. But based on what we've seen everywhere else in the world so far, there is no good reason to expect the parks to open up in just 2 weeks. even based on Disney parks in other countries. And the dismissal of the college program and other programs like this only further supports this. Clearly, Disney does not seem to be acting like they expect to open the parks back up in 2 weeks. And if you're looking at what has happened in other countries, we really shouldn't be expecting them to either. Again, good luck to everyone affected by coronavirus. If you've got something you really want to talk about the Disney parks closing down, if you're in one of the Disney programs who just found out that you've got to leave by Wednesday, please leave a comment down below so we can get a conversation going. And I really wish you all good luck. Thanks for going ahead and watching the video. If you liked it, please go ahead and give it a thumb up. And check out my other couple videos about the coronavirus and Disney coming out Monday and Tuesday, or come on back tomorrow for the Stargirl review. And I hope you subscribe if you're not already and ring that bell. And until then, have a magical day, and may the Force be with you always.